What's up everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Miss Mliwela. For those of you who are stopping by for the very first time, welcome to my humble abode. I say this not often, but I do say that this is my channel, but it is your show because they're the ones who make me do what I do. On today's episode, I talk about the things that they will never tell you about temporary locks, the truth about temporary locks. And I'll start with the first thing, which is tight braids is equals to hair breakage from the roots. One thing about temporary locks is that when they're installed, when they're attached, it's always pulling on your roots. If any hairstyle, doesn't have to be locks, if any hairstyle is pulling on your roots, then by all means that's a red flag. That means that as your hair is growing from the roots, it is actually breaking because this tightness cannot be contained by the hair growth. So instead of your hair growing healthy and actually growing thick and strong, this particular temporary locks will encourage thinning of your hair, will encourage breakage of your hair from your hair roots. So instead of seeing hair growth after you've taken them out, you'll actually see hair loss. I don't think you want to see hair loss after you've put in a hairstyle for over 6 months. I wouldn't want to, by the way. But if you want that, continue having temporary locks. The second thing that they'll never tell you about temporary locks is that it's a trend that will pass. Or what about your hair? After temporary locks have moved and we have gone to the next phase of hairstyles, how will your hair be looking like? Will your hair be looking full, thick, grown, or will it be looking thin, brittle, mushy, and very damaged? That's a question you should ask yourself, because these people don't really care. What they care about is about what's trending, not about your hair follicles, not about your hair growth. Think about it. The third thing that they will never tell you about temporary locks is that long braids is equals to short hair because of the weight. If the braids are too long, I think this cuts across all kinds of braids, but especially locks, because locks are naturally heavy. So if there are locks that are heavy, they are pulling on your hair roots, and they are pulling on everything, on your hair edges, on your hair ends. It's actually just havoc. It's terrible. So kindly don't put these temporary locks, because at the end of the day, your hair is not going to be long but short. I don't think you want short hair after having your hair in again for more than 6 months. I know I don't. So if you don't, please avoid, and if it is possible you don't do temporary locks, please do not do them by any chance. The next thing that is actually very striking is that temporary locks do not grow your edges. Can we just wake up to the fact that that is true? These things don't grow your edges. Don't be deceived that, oh, they will help grow your edges, they'll help them become more full. If you want your hair to grow, and if you want your edges especially to grow, put in braids, box braids, especially box braids. But please avoid temporary locks, because when they're retouching, they are pulling your hair from the roots. If your hair is being pulled from the roots, it means it's actually being pulled back. If it's being pulled back, then you know what is happening. Have you seen what is happening? If it's being pulled back, then you know what is happening. Your edges are going with it, and before you know it, your edges will be at the middle of your head. When you're expecting your edges to be long and actually full, they actually become thin, and they recede and eventually fall and wash away. Please don't be deceived that temporary locks grow edges. I think that was like a bait so that people start wearing temporary locks. It is not true. Do not fall for it. Do not go for it, because it's a deception that you should know henceforth. That brings us to the next point, which is this particular pulling of your edges leads to eventual traction alopecia. This is traction alopecia, and traction alopecia is one very dangerous disease that affects your hair. I'm going to read for you what I discovered from Google about traction alopecia. Traction alopecia refers to hair loss. Traction alopecia is hair loss that is caused by repeatedly pulling on your hair. You can develop traction alopecia if you often wear your hair in a tight ponytail, bun, or braids, especially if you use chemicals or heat on your hair. Traction alopecia can be reversed if you stop pulling your hair back. But if you don't intervene soon enough, the hair loss may be permanent. So if they continue pulling after every retouch, which I think is after a month, they keep on pulling and pulling and pulling on the edges, your edges are going to start becoming thinner and finer. I don't know if you've seen people that have hair that looks like this. These people should stop pulling on the edges. They should stop putting in styles that are pulling on these particular areas of their hair. Put in a hairstyle that does not pull at all if you want to see your edges grow. Please, 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 for hair fullness, for your head to look beautiful generally, you need your edges, you need your hairline. And one thing about this particular temporary locks, they don't encourage that. They discourage, they deter its growth, they ruin it, and it's all gone. I'm just feeling very emotional about this because majority of people love this particular hairstyle, but please do not fall for it. It's not there to help your hair in any or every way. The last thing I'd like to talk about is that temporary locks recede your hairline. They recede your hairline. Please, they recede your hairline. They recede your hairline. I don't know. I wish I could speak that into understanding in your mind. They recede your hairline. Your hairline will go from, 6 fingers or 5 fingers to 7 to 8 to... Please avoid temporary locks. If you can't do without them, just avoid them. By all means, there is no secret towards having temporary locks that actually grow your hair. Just try and do other hairstyles. Do braids, box braids, and braids in general, but avoid any kind of locks. Locks, temporary locks, you know them. They're fox locks, there are those others, you know all those kinds. Kindly avoid those locks and save your hair. Save your edges, save your hairline. Well, thank you so much for watching. Please like, please subscribe, tap on the notification bell, share, so that we can create awareness on this particular hairdo. Share. If you have any kind of feedback that you think might be useful for me, leave a comment down below and I'll be sure to see you in the next video. Ciao!